Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, good evening, good evening, good evening.
How's everything?
Everything's good, thank you. You're
That's
number
amazing.
number one tonight, but
Oh, amazing. How
yeah,
lucky I am.
okay. It's careful scheduling.
Yeah.
Beautiful day and
That's
a busy evening, but interesting. It's 7 p.m. Spanish time and it's 28 degrees. So it's a
wow.
little on the warm side, but it's
Not bad.
comfortable. Not bad at all.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, almost same here in Egypt.
Yeah, yeah. So you can
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
sort of
Cool.
temperature you can dress for. If it gets hotter, then you start wanting to take your clothes.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, today we will talk about the present, like what you are doing in those days. Okay.
Okay.
So the first question is like, do you have any special interests or enjoying any particular activities?
Um, I well, particularly in this beautiful weather, I do a lot of walking. Um, I go to the supermarket, and going directly, I tend to go in a large circle and going on to get outside, bit of fresh air, and just exercise, really. Yeah.
That's amazing. Healthy, meeting new people, like discovering the real life outside.
Yeah. Meeting new people, not so much. Apart from the
At least
checkout,
seeing new people.
seeing new people, certainly. Yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
time I go, I see the same people. Um,
Hmm.
particularly when I'm walking to the school, I'd pass the same people at the same time most afternoons. So never really got. It's not, you feel comfortable if you're seeing familiar figures around you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. Yeah. Okay, so the next question is, what's your typical day like now, and how's it different from your daily routines in the past?
Well, now I've always been a night person, and now my nights are my normal days, if you like. I've never been one to leap out of bed when the sun comes up. Um,
Hmm.
I can do it if I have to, for example, if I'm working shifts. But now, my normal day, I start work at either 7 p.m. or 5 p.m.,
Hmm.
work at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Wow.
So I tend to sleep until be 11:30 a.m.
Hmm.
Then my day begins. Uh,
I'm totally the opposite.
yeah, people like you spoil the world.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so for you, is the present better or worse than when you were younger?
I think personally it's better. Biological clock, if you like.
Yeah.
Um, I tend to, yeah, I tend to start late and work late. I did the same at uni.
Hmm.
I quite often work all night to finish a project or working on a project. And then if I didn't have lectures, I'd spend the morning in bed and then start my day later. When I was working, I'd have a routine where I had to follow other people's routines.
Hmm.
But now, working virtually for myself, then I'm free when I work and how often I work.
So you've talked about like your personal experience about the present. So how about the life itself? Do you think it's better or worse?
It's better.
In which
Um,
way?
I'm I'm able to do things in a way when I and how I want to do them. I don't have to consider anybody else. Maybe a selfish attitude, but um, when you're with somebody, then there's always a little bit of negotiation going to do what. Whereas now I can decide, but the downside is actually, oh, I'll do it later. It doesn't matter. And sometimes it does matter, but I can convince myself that it doesn't.
Yeah. And how about the people? How about the circumstances? Do you think back in the days, like we're better than today?
In some ways, certainly yes, because I'm a sociable person. I enjoyed working with people. Um, Generally, my job involved being either part of a team or a group. Now, I don't say I get lonely, but I sometimes miss having somebody to talk to.
Yes,
So
yes.
I think you can say swings and roundabouts. There are benefits to both lifestyles.
So when we talk about people, so who do you trust and depend on?
Um, well, here I don't really have close friends, so I rely on two or three friends that I'm in contact with regularly. Plus, my
Mhm.
again, family is important in that respect. That I know if I want anything, I can, and if he can, he will help. And I'm certain that the opposite applies. If he needs help and I can help him, then I'll do what I can to help.
So your friends here in Spain and your son in the UK. How about other
Yes.
people in the UK? Do you have like a close friend there in the UK?
No, no, really friends. I would say acquaintances. And my ex-wife, for instance, we talk fairly regularly. My brother's wife occasionally, but not very often. To be honest, no. I've isolated myself in a way.
Yeah, I'm about to say that. Like once you are happy, so it's fine.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what things are most important to you now?
Well, starting with sleep is important because I enjoy it. I get a lot of satisfaction from teaching, and when I'm in the school as well. Again, I makes me feel useful. Um,
Yes.
I think one of the problems with retirement, from looking at it from outside, is that you've lost purpose in your life.
Yes.
I was reading something on the internet yesterday about retired husbands being the cause of 20% of the divorces in Japan because the husband's at work all day doing his thing to put food on the table. The wife's got her life, and then suddenly there's a strange man sitting on the couch all day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
always work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and beside teaching,
Yeah, I enjoy cooking,
mhm.
um, but it's
Do you
cooking
cook
what
for yourself?
I yes I do, and that's
Wow.
part of the fun is never knowing what I'm going to cook, never knowing what it's going to end up like. Um, I'll see what I do general shopping when I go to the supermarket, but I'm never quite sure what I've got in the cupboards and the fridge until I think I need to eat something. I'll go and cook something, and then, oh, there's some of that, there's some of that. They look good together, but oh, I've got, and then it just happens.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. Agree. And what's your favorite meat for you?
Um, I'm a turkey person. Um, I enjoy red meat, but from what I've read, it's not the best meat for you.
Yes, yes.
You can,
And
as long as you get your protein from somewhere, then uh, turkey is good. It's slightly red, but I also like fish. So I think I generally have
100%
fairly,
white.
yeah, and oily fish. For I read about omega 3. I know it's good for you.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So how have your dreams and goals changed throughout your life?
I think I've I've certainly become more realistic in that when I was younger, I was going to do this, I was going to be that, and maybe I've settled for second best to a certain extent. I've been content with what I have and what I do. So I tend not to follow dreams. I don't have dreams. Maybe the most excitement I get is a holiday. For example, 3 weeks ago, I was in Bulgaria for a week, and that wasn't something I expected, but it was a lot better than the
It's really
experience I was expecting, purely because of the people.
so we can talk about your only goals is just to relax.
Yes, yeah, and to continue enjoying what I'm doing. As long as I can do that, I'm lucky. It's to a certain extent, it can be a sitting down job. I'd rather it wasn't, but it is. Um, Working in school, I tend to be standing up and moving about a lot more, which I think is better for my health. Again, I keep saying it swings and roundabouts. But it is what it is, so enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's move to talk about aging. So you
Mm-hmm.
already covered
Why,
your
I'm an expert.
present. So what do you remember about your 20s, 40s, 60s?
My 20s, um, I was still growing up, I think, in many ways. Um, at university, um, my first job, um, my first relationship, really, and we we learned a lot together. And we were of a similar age.
Wow.
We had similar professions. She was a graphic. She was a fashion designer. I was a graphic designer.
Wow.
And yeah, we made a lot of new friends. We were living in Wales at the time,
Hmm.
and we made a lot of new friends. Um, Again, it's slightly different culture when you're older than it is when you're younger. When you're in your teens, um, you walk or catch the bus everywhere. Whereas when you're in your 20s, you've got a driving license, you can go further, you can do more. So you get yeah, you have a little more freedom because you've expanded your circle of being, if you like.
I love that.
Uh, so that 30s, I was still in Wales until the end of the 30s. Not the 30s, I'm not that old. The end of my 30s. That was when I first came to Spain, and I
When?
worked when I was 39, I think. It was from 1979 to 1982. So I'm still trying to do maths in my head.
Yeah.
And that's when I first came to Spain. That's when I fell in love with Spain. Um, Again, I was a pretty standard English person
Mhm.
until I started to travel a bit. And then I think I discovered I liked not so much the traveling, but living in a different culture, living somewhere where I was learning. When I left Spain, I'd been working on a yacht for 3 years, which was something I'd always wanted to do because it was sailing connected with when I was younger. And I went back to the UK and I promised myself that if I had the opportunity, I'd come back to Spain to work. So I got married instead. Um,
Yeah.
which did change my plans a little. Um, and I never really um, planned to come back to Spain. It was always at the back of my mind. Well, not that makes it sound as though I thought about it more than I did. I was aware of the fact that I wanted to come back to Spain. And eventually, after my son grew up, left home, my wife and I got divorced, and suddenly I was free to do it. So I decided that was the opportunity. I had to take it.
Yeah, like
And
a window of opportunity.
exactly, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So, but then you start thinking, well, if I'm going to live somewhere, I need money.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I thought about it, had one or two ideas. Um, I thought about working, getting a job in England, but it's like many cultures. If you're as you get older, the opportunities don't always offer themselves unless you're looking for a job with plenty of experience.
Mhm.
Well, I'd been a bus driver for 11 years. At
Wow.
one point, I didn't want to go back into that,
Mhm.
so I wanted something new.
Mhm.
So I'm a native English speaker. I enjoy working with people. I did a little English teaching when I was on the boat, on the yacht.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, yes, but I need to qualify. So I did an English teacher training course and started applying for jobs in Spain. And that's how I ended up here just over 8 years ago,
Wow.
November 2013.
Mhm.
I first arrived in Spain, and in my mind now, it's one of the best things I ever did because it brought me to where I want to live, to um, a lifestyle that I enjoy, and I've ended up here. I've taken from working in 2 or 3 academies with a sort of rigid timetable to working flexibly and being free to choose
The shadow.
when. Yeah, yes, yeah. I choose when I want to work for Cambly. That leaves me free during the day. So if I get an opportunity during the day, which I had 3, 4 months ago, to work in a school, working with real people, I took the opportunity. So again, I'm mixing the best of both worlds, I think.
So after all of those events in your life, so how do you feel about getting old?
Tired, very, very tired.
Believe me, we all tired.
No, I think um, I'll never, I, I won't die a rich man in the terms in monetary terms, but I think I've had a rich and fulfilling life. I've been luckier than many people that I've been able to do many things. experience many things, and I don't really think I've had a job I disliked. So that makes a difference. I can use my experience of the different jobs, working with different people, different types of people. I think in some ways that makes me a better teacher in that it helps me to relate more to people. So I can talk to somebody who's doing a PhD in physics, which I don't know a lot about, but I know a little bit. So I think I can ask the right sort of questions to encourage them to talk. Um, and I think that works for many of the students, knowing a little bit about something. You don't, I think, I've never really felt I've known everything.
Yeah.
I've known enough to make many things interesting because I've always had a curious mind. Uh, what what makes things work? Uh, Ended up my son when he was 3 years old. We were at my parents', and he found out what happens if you push all the buttons on a washing machine at the same time. The washing machine stops working, and your parents have to spend £300.
They'll fix it. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what are the most rewarding things about being old or getting old?
I think nostalgia in a way. I mean, I'm lucky. I think in that I've lived in fairly interesting times, and I've seen things happen, not always understood them, but looking back, um, you see things in a different light. Um, I've never really suffered, I don't think, apart from a time when I spent living in Minorca and living on figs, oranges, and red wine and bread for
Yeah,
five,
yeah,
5 days, living wild, basically.
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
it was an experience,
It is,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
and sometimes, I'm not a poet, but it inspires me to write poetry.
Relay.
Yeah, yes. I, again, I'm not a real poet in that I need really strong emotions, but once I start, it just seems to flow. It's not it's not being poetry I'd publish or anything like that. It's
Yes,
just putting what you feel down on paper, capturing.
exactly. Hmm. Agree. I really like it. And what about the hardest thing in your life, or hard thing about being old?
Um, I don't think I've really had anything hard in my life
How about
because,
being getting old?
uh, well, it. Maybe it's easy. You just do it.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So, um, again, I think it's something you have to accept. You can't change it. There's no fairy dust. There's no fountain of youth. So, um, I think one of my sayings, if you like, is um, if you can't change it, let it go. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you know, these things happen in life.
So, what if anything you would have done differently?
Um, there, I think I may not have got married so many times. Um,
Agree.
uh, um, Maybe I'd be more careful about relationships and maybe make better choices. But Maybe that it wouldn't have been as much fun if I'd done that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I think I'm maybe one of these people who says, whose mother says, "Don't touch that; it's hot." So I touched it,
Yes.
and it's hot.
Yeah, yeah. So, what's your concerns for the future?
Um, I think it might sound silly, but and very dark, but going to sleep and nobody finding me for 3 weeks.
Mhm. Wow.
I think that's a little bit of a concern. It doesn't keep me awake at night, but some, when you everybody feels a little down sometimes, and I think that's the thing um, that worries me the most. But um, I've recently written my will, paid for my funeral and everything, so I don't pass anything like that on to my son. So
Yeah, yeah. I wish you good life or good health and longevity. Actually, like just
yeah,
as you said, like I'm living my life. I'm living my days.
exactly,
Yeah,
yes, and get the most out of every day.
yeah, 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 yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay, the pleasure is mine. So thank you for the opportunity. Maybe one day somebody will write this down and turn it into a bestseller.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, well, thank
Yeah,
you.
have a good
Cheerio.
night. Yeah,
You too.
bye.
Take care and keep safe.
Yeah.
Thank you.